Alright, this presentation is brought to you by Jessica, Blair, and Ashely. So these are the 7 main parts of the brain: the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, the cerebellum, temporal lobe, the hippocampus, and the amygdala.
Over here we have the cerebellum, or little brain, and it is a structure that is found at the back of the brain, underlying the occipital and temporal lobes of the cerebral cortex. The cerebellum is involved in the following functions. It maintains a balance and posture, coordination of voluntary movements, timing and force of muscles, motor learning, trial and error process, cognitive functions, which is important for language. 2 important features of the cerebellum is the posterior fissure, which separates the flocculonodular lobe from the corpus cerebelli. The primary fissure separates the corpus cerebelli into a posterior lobe and an anterior lobe. There is another fissure, the horizontal fissure.
So the cerebellum is divided sagittally or into left and right halves with 3 zones, starting with the vermis, which is Latin for worm, the intermediate zone, and the lateral hemispheres. The functional subdivisions of the cerebellum are the vestibular cerebellum, which contains the flocculonodular lobe, and the spinocerebellum, which is comprised of the vermis and intermediate zones. And then there last is the cerebrocerebellum, which is the largest subdivision and comprises of the lateral hemispheres. If there is damage to the cerebellum, it produces motor movement disorders, such as the decomposition of movement. So the patient will have difficulty touching their nose with their fingers. Then there are intention tremors, such as when you're going to reach for a cup, you start off in a straight line, but they might have difficulty with movement of the arm and hand. Then there is dysdiadochokinesia, which is difficulty performing rapidly alternating movements and deficits in motor learning.